Tennessee is getting destroyed by Georgia in the transfer portal. How disconcerting should that be for Tennessee's faithful?
Very. Now let's be upfront about this real quick, because you're going to see some people say Georgia's transfer portal ranking is all the way down at number 42. It's not about the transfer portal ranking for schools. It's about how good were they already and are they upgrading. So, for instance, LSU has like the number one transfer portal ranking. But, Dave, you and I would both agree LSU needs some transfers, right?
Yes.
Georgia just won the SEC title and was an injury at quarterback away from probably going to win the national title. So when they're adding players in the portal, they're going from elite to more elite. And just yesterday, they landed Texas A&M transfer wide receiver Noah Thomas, a standout for A&M, had 39 catches for 574 yards and 8 touchdowns. That comes after they landed the Branch brothers, Zachariah and Zion Branch. That was about really Zachariah Branch to get him. And they landed him from USC at wide receiver. Now, people are going to point out that Anthony Evans, Georgia wide receiver, has entered the transfer portal. I'm going to respond with, so the F what? Okay.
A little strong.
Yeah, I mean, he had 9 catches for 88 yards. Nobody cares that he entered the transfer portal. So, again, Georgia has now, all of a sudden, has weapons galore on offense, and they still have Kirby Smart coaching that defense. This team looks like it could be, in the NIL and transfer portal era, they could be like the old Georgia and Alabama. You know what this is like, Dave? This is like, remember when New England won the Super Bowl in 2003 and then Corey Dillon went and signed with them?
Yes.
That's what this is like at this moment with them adding these receivers.
Well, Corey Dillon had an attitude problem, but
he led the league in rushing that next year, though.
A little bit of a reach on a comparison, but okay. Here's where Tennessee is. The Vols have lost 13 players to the transfer portal since the end of the 2024 season. I'm sure they weren't all good players. Tennessee has shown us before that the coaches, they're not afraid to say, it might be time to hit the door. I've had former players reach out to me and let me know that was the case. So, I mean, that's fine. It's different. That used to be a bad thing. It's not a bad thing anymore. Tennessee has had its eye on several top transfers, but a lot have chosen other schools. Florida State receiver Malik Benson went to Oregon. Washington State defensive lineman David Gusta went to Kentucky. Southern California receiver Zachariah Branch went to Georgia. Southern California defensive back Zion Branch went to Georgia. South Dakota State running back Angel Johnson, Washington State, and Tennessee tried to land them all. Now, I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't be overly concerned. Last Look brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. Look at me. LASIK, no contacts, no glasses, local vision correction at the absolute highest level.
The first step to better vision is to visit ccteyes.com. The information you need is easy to access, and setting an appointment is as simple as clicking the tab. Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn, and Eye Care Optical at CCTI.
Okay, here's why you should not be concerned. And let's make it a poll question. How concerned are you? And you can phrase it however you want to about the transfer portal. Jimmy, I'm going to give you 2 reasons. Jimmy said one thing, Jimmy Himes, earlier in the program, that Tennessee did close strong in the transfer portal last year, and they've closed strong traditionally. But I will take it a step further. That Josh Heupel is smart enough not to take guys that just fill a roster spot. And I think that's been very, very evident in what they've done lately. If you just take a look at Josh Heupel's transfer portal recruiting, it's been pretty phenomenal. Okay, so let's take a look here. Let's go back to 2024. That would have been last year. All right. Let me pull those up. All right. Tommy Winton III. We haven't heard much from him. Jackson Moy played. and will be a solid player if he's not already. I think he's pretty solid. Lance Hurd, I believe, will get better. He was injured. Miles Kitzelman was the gem of the class. Jalen McMurray, starter. Chris Brazel, the second, underused, but certainly talented enough. Jermon McCoy, a lockdown corner. Jacoby Thomas, starter. Holden Stays, didn't work out, but I don't think there's any question that he could play at Tennessee's level and at the SEC level. Would you agree with all those assessments?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to 2023. All right. Tennessee in the transfer portal picked up Gabe Judy Lawley. Maybe not the best player, but he's a borderline starter. Played a lot. Fair?
Yes.
Okay. John Campbell Jr. Again, I think if not for the ankle injury, he's way better last year. Definitely an SEC player, right?
Yep.
Okay. Omar Norman Lott, SEC player. Dante Thornton Jr., again, misused, but SEC player. Keenan Pilley, Tennessee starting linebacker before he got hurt twice. Andre Kuric, he is a starter for Tennessee at offensive guard. Charles Campbell obviously played, and McCallan Castles was very good as well. Are you keeping track? Because Josh Heupel's hitting percentage is like at 90%. Okay. So that's why you shouldn't worry. Let's take a look at, let's go back one more year. The 2023 class.
You just did the 2023.
I'm sorry. This would be the 2022 class. Okay. Now, the one that is still a head scratcher, why they took Lynn J. Dixon, who had issues right before camp, was bizarre. But they get Brew McCoy, player, no doubt. Andre Turrentine. That a good pickup?
Dave, I'm going to push totally back on you on
Okay,
this.
well, let's just go through the list first, because it's not great here. His average is going to come down. Andre Turrentine, is that
okay?
Is that a good one or a bad one? Let me just run through the list.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll say average.
Wesley Walker, average.
Average.
Jackson Hanna, Charlie Browder, no. Navy Schuler, know why he's on the team. Gerald Mincy.
Worked out when he was there. Worked out while he was there.
Right. But the bottom line is, the last 2 years, when Josh Heupel has had a pulpit to preach his coaching, is coaching mastery, whatever you want to call it, he's done quite well. He's batted about 90%. Now you go back to when he's trying to rebuild a program that was essentially a dumpster fire, he struggled. So I understand you want to push back, but I'm going to make a strong argument that Tennessee under Josh Heupel is playing things the right way. They may lose. People lose. You lose battles. But you have to be efficient in how you spend these scholarships. And to this point, he's been very much so. So I completely trust him with this upcoming 2025 transfer portal class. And you're looking at me like I've got a horn coming out of my head.
Because it's not, you're looking at it as players that can fill a void and be effective. I'm going to tell you this right up front. It's not about what Tennessee's doing. It doesn't matter what Tennessee's doing to this point. And here's why. They can't just fill voids. The point of this is Georgia just got they're trying to get on Georgia's level. Georgia just got 2 elite playmakers at receiver to a team already loaded with talent. I don't care if Tennessee fills void. Those voids won't be on Georgia's level of talent now. Okay? Next year's offense, Dave. Who's going to have a better offense next year, Georgia or Tennessee? Despite Tennessee having an offensive-minded head coach. Who's going to average more points in SEC play?
Wow. Well, Josh Heupel's going to run it up against non-conference opponents, so I like how you phrased that. Probably Georgia.
And here's the problem. Tennessee is filling needs in the transfer portal, but those needs are not sniffing the talent level of Georgia right now. Georgia is the deepest, most talented team in the transfer portal era, and just added 2 of the best wide receivers in the transfer portal in the nation. This is insane. We're talking about a team that's going to be, and they're a defensive-oriented team. Their defense wasn't the problem for most of this year. Okay, they had issues on offense, but they're loaded to a point of I mean, this is further proof that Tennessee will always be trying to play catch up with Georgia. They're not even in the same stratosphere right now with Georgia. Okay, Georgia all of a sudden, I think, looks... I got to be honest. I look at Georgia. This would be like if Alabama in the early 2010s during the Nick Saban period when they had a game manager at quarterback and were dominating everybody. Imagine if just randomly Alabama picked up Cam Newton during that time period. I know that's an exaggeration, but like
slightly. I mean, yeah, that's slight exaggeration. Yes, you bring up a good point, and it's scary that Georgia seems to be beating Tennessee at its own game, which was to build within the transfer portal. I'll still stick
on offense specifically.
Yeah, I'll still stick with what I said. I trust Josh Heupel given what he's done the past 2 years.